I'm Sister Maria Morona de Poveri. I am from Beulah, Wyoming, but I grew up going to the St. Joseph's Parish in Spearfish, South Dakota. And in 2014, I entered with the Servants of the Lord and the Virgin Matara, a Marian missionary order. Our formation house is in DC, and that's where I've been for the past 2.5 years, studying and doing different apostolates, such as popular missions or teaching catechesis to First Communion students. Growing up with a very Catholic mother, I began discernment. Maybe even in 6th grade, I was aware that I needed to be looking for what God was calling me to do with my life. I remember being 12 years old and hearing the story of St. Therese and thinking, okay, she's 12, so I need to wait. Or she was 14 when she entered the convent, so I need to wait at least until then. But that's not to say that I had always known I was being called to be a sister. But with our different retreats in our diocese, such as Totus Tuus or our vocational discernment weekends that we have in the winter time, I was able to continue to be aware of that I needed to be praying about and searching for God's plan for my life. And I think when I had most seriously asked that question, when I was a senior in high school, and that is when I really felt that God was calling me to give my life to Him in this way. The moment that I really felt the most clarity of I'm being called to be a spouse of Christ, to be a sister, I was helping out for a confirmation retreat here at Terra Sancta, and the different questions of like, what is God calling me to do with my life, had really been coming to my mind more and more as I was entering my senior year of high school. And I was in the main chapel of Terra Sancta, and one of our youth minister at the time was giving her testimony of married life, and which was just a very beautiful testimony. And I was looking at her and just seeing more clearly just the beauty of married life, of that vocation. And there was also another woman in our diocese who was very helpful at all these different events, was off to the side helping with the liturgy, and she at the time was 9 months pregnant, and she's a very small, petite woman. And so I could see her as just such a clear, vivid example of a mother. And between these two just beautiful examples of what married life is, I was reflecting on that and thinking how much I wanted to be a mother, how much I wanted to be a mother of many children, and how much I wanted to have a spouse who loved me so much. And as I was looking at the two of them, I realized that God wasn't calling me to married life, and that He was calling me to a different type of motherhood and a different type of being a spouse, and that was to be His spouse, to be a spouse of Christ, and to have Him as a spouse who loves you more than anyone can, and more particularly than anyone can. And that the type of motherhood He was calling me to was a motherhood that can be to all children. And it's in the years since, I've seen that so clearly, that I am a spouse in like a very real way to Christ Himself, and that I am a mother to all the children that I get to work with in my different apostolates, and in the people who I see on the streets who come running up and asking me to pray for them. And so it's become very clear what they say, that God can never be outdone in generosity, and that if you give Him your yes, that He just takes it and runs with it, and He rewards you so much more than you can imagine.